Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us. Please smash that subscribe button. It helps a ton. It helps get the word out. And also, you can now win a signed Milt Stegall jersey. If you're a subscriber, you're automatically put into the draw, which will happen in a few weeks. So, yes, subscribe. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us. We're at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everyone's favorite TikTok. Check us out also on Reddit. And don't forget, leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
This is our CFL Week 11 issue. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. What boxes need to be checked for the Bombers to leave Calgary with a W? Can I start?
Sure, go for it.
Don't start slow. I don't know what it is this year, but so far, from what I've looked at, 5 out of 9 games, they've come out sluggish. BC week 3, Montreal week 4, Calgary week 5, Edmonton week 7, Edmonton week 9. That's not a good average. And it's been a concern of mine and yours on this show since about week 4 when we saw them play Montreal. I don't know. Do we put it on the coaches? Is it taking too long to identify the other team's game plan? Like the team can obviously motivate themselves. They did it when they had that revenge game against BC. So I don't know if they can't get up to it for other weeks. Like I don't know what is going on, but they got to figure that out because that can't continue. Like we just saw it last week, down 22-0 to Edmonton.
Yeah.
They can't start slow.
No, I feel like all these teams are coming in and they want to win. They want to beat the Bombers. You know, they're still, even though Toronto's 7-1 and BC's having a great season, everyone still comes in and plays these games tough. So they come in with a little bit more intensity than the Bombers do. And I think the Bombers got that attitude where, you know, things will settle down and we'll take over this game and we'll win it, you know, just like they did for the most part in all these games. Not the BC game, obviously. So, yeah, I think they're coming in maybe with that slowish attitude and kind of want to see what the other team's going to do before they react. But they got to get ahead of it because these bad teams are going to beat you. You know, like the Ottawa game where you couldn't put that one away. Montreal kept it close. Calgary was close last game, too, when they played them. So, you never know sometimes when a game is close, you know. And Edmonton, most teams, when they get out to 22-0 lead, they're not going to blow it. You know, so say if Winnipeg got down again 22-0 this week, chances are they're not coming back again. You know, it's tough to do that every week.
And let's be true, we got sniffs of this in the Grey Cup. They started that game slow. It's nothing new to this team this year, but I don't know what's going on from a fan's point of view. Well, what other boxes do you feel that they need to check?
Well, speaking of starting off slow, stopping that Edmonton run game was rough last week. If Calgary has any smarts to kind of win this game, they're going to focus on that run. They're going to lean on Kadeem Carey and Dietrich Mills, even a 1-2 kind of punch, and pound that Bomber D a little bit. And that's where the D needs to step up. We've seen that they're not the strongest so far against the run and running quarterbacks. Well, Jake Maier is not a running quarterback, but they got two bruising backs that can to lay it on the line against that run defense. So that run defense needs to step it up this week.
Yeah, the Bombers went from allowing 89 yards rushing per game to bumped up to 100 yards rushing a game. They allowed Edmonton to go 170 yards on them. I'm still weary about putting it all on Adam Bighill and age. I think that's a kind of default that a lot of people are going to. But you know, it's when the running backs are getting to the second level untouched, that's hard. And I think that's a scheme issue. You know, we look at the first run with Kevin Brown, like Adam Bighill has to respect Ford keeping the ball. You know, that we saw what happened with Crum. So he has to be honest with that. Another linebacker left the area. The defensive line split open because Ricky just went hard and got pushed to the middle of the line. And then Bighill really had no chance. So they got to figure out how to beat that, stop the run. Because, you know, Calgary's, they got to commit to it.
Yeah.
They made a mistake by not committing to it last game, especially in the second half. And you know they're going to commit to it with that two-headed running game that they're probably going to have, the two-headed monster.
Yeah, the only way Calgary is winning this game, and we'll talk about that probably in a bit, I guess, is if that run game is going. You know, it's got to. They can't rely on Jake Maier to throw 30 times and have a chance to win this game. But yeah, I think it was Bighill who came out and said after that game they were trying a different scheme or some new things on the run game, and I guess it just didn't stick, and guys are making mistakes and not sure of where to be, and that's what led to, you know, that 65-yard run by Brown and other big plays on the ground as well.
Yeah, there has to be some kind of discipline in the gut because that's where a lot of those big runs are coming from. It's not these sweeps or anything or these end arounds. It's
No, they were
them going up the
straight
middle.
up the middle, right?
Yeah. Same thing with
Like,
Dietrich Mills. Dietrich
yeah.
Mills was a bully through the middle on the Bombers. And Jake Thomas and Ricky Walker are good defensive linemen. So I don't know what it is, man. From a fan's binoculars in the stands, I don't quite know what it is in the run game, why they can't get that stopped.
Yeah, and there wasn't, you say, the D line, the linebackers, and even the DBs. There wasn't a lot of support back there. Even Brandon Alexander got trucked by Mitchell on that run. So all these
Mhm.
guys need to step up and be a little bit better. They know this, obviously, and as the season goes on, I expect it to improve a little bit. But teams will be probably gearing up that run game and focusing on trying to get that rush defense to make mistakes.
Yeah, Mills 14 for 97 and a touchdown in the last game they played the Bombers.
Yeah, and all of it very much in the first quarter, and then Calgary's like, "Yeah, we don't need to run anymore."
Mind-boggling. Mind-boggling.
Dave Dickinson,
Uh,
man.
I know both Dickinsons this year. Excellent O-line play, I think, has to continue. The
Yeah.
running game is really rolling. They're getting back to the dominating physical style where they really wear down the defensive lines. They didn't really use a heavy set as much last game as they did against BC. And I hope they don't let that slip out of the playbook. I'd rather see it be a constant than a necessity where they're, okay, we got to start using it now. A couple sacks last game, nothing of concern really. Caleros held on to the ball, and then just the play broke down with Brown. So they're playing pretty good protecting the quarterback. Calgary is second in the league in sacks, so they can't sleep on their D line. So yeah, the O line needs to continue to play strong.
Yeah, and last game, the D line for Calgary had a pretty good start to that game, and they were causing havoc and trouble for that O line. So I expect them to do the same in this one and come at them hard and see what they can do and try. You know what? If it's going to be Drew Brown starting or Zach Laros, they're going to want to get after them quick and
Yeah,
throw off that rhythm. The Bombers, if they play that 6 O line or that heavy line, that basically takes one of those receivers off the field. So they don't like doing that too much. So, but it helps. We've seen it. It's worked,
it's successful.
especially on those long balls in that BC game, right? So,
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Any other boxes that need to be checked?
no, just go and play their game. I mean, this is a very winnable game. I know it's another game on the road back in Alberta, but the Bombers come out strong and they should be okay here.
Yeah. It's looking like Drew Brown might play. Caleros is still
He's questionable.
questionable. It's a
Yeah.
neck injury. Do you take the risk? So if Drew Brown does play, he's got to take what Calgary gives him. Calgary has given up the second least amount of deep completions, 30 yards plus. And they're really giving a lot of the underneath balls. So he has to take those underneath whatever they give them because they're very patient on the long ball. They won't give up the long ball. So yeah, Drew Brown, take what they give you and extend plays with your legs if you can.
It's funny that you say that because the Bombers are leading the league in 30 plus yards with 23 completions. So,
Yeah, mostly
so
by Caleros.
yeah, it'll be interesting. Well, I mean, Drew Brown had some good ones last game too, but it'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see which one gives. And that's the thing. Yeah, Calgary might be covering that underneath stuff quite a bit and forcing them to try the long ball and see, but it'll be interesting. Hopefully, yeah. I don't know if he risks Caleros in this situation, man. If his neck's not good,
no,
let him sit for another week. It's a long season to go.
yeah. I think Calgary will give them the underneath all day
And the
long
Bombers will take it. They're not.
for sure.
They're a
Rasheed
smart
Bailey might have a
offense, right?
huge day.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about who might have a huge day. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Nope. No good.
Who do you see having a big game for the Bombers and why?
And talking about Adam Bighill, man, I see him having a big game and bouncing back. And like we say, I watch the game and I kind of see him and go, oh, he was out of place. I don't know for sure, right? I mean, like we say, maybe it was another guy and Big Hill spying forward in all this situation, but he doesn't have the speed he once did. So more his is more positioning. I see him bouncing back from that game, playing well and stepping up and leading this Bomber defense against Calgary.
Way to pick a defensive player. Good on you. We usually side on offense for some
Usually,
reason. It's
yes.
a CFL. That is why. Speaking of offense, I'm going to take Nick Dembski. I think Calgary, like we just mentioned, is going to look to stop the big play. And with Brown trying to get into the rhythm, hopefully Pierce realizing to get into the rhythm, I think they got to use the Canadian Swiss Army knife like crazy. Use them in the running game like they did. Use them in motion. And like we said, the underneath, he's great at those underneath, finding the soft spot in the zone, settling down and getting the ball and giving a target for Drew Brown. So I think Nick Dembski will have a huge game. And I kind of want to say Rasheed Bailey too, just because he looked really good with Drew Brown last game.
Yep. Oh yeah, he stepped up pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pick your poison with any one of those wide receivers, man. But I like Dembski. I like the way they're using Dembski in the passing game, in the run game. He's all over the place. That guy must love that he came here and signed from Saskatchewan like years ago, right?
Yeah,
Just
no doubt.
he would never
Coming
would have been
home.
used this way in Saskatchewan, at all, kind of thing. So
Yeah, he was a punt return for a long time in Saskatchewan
yeah,
for the first couple of years.
yeah,
But he had a huge receiving game against the Bombers, I think, the first game against the Bombers.
he
That might
did.
have been the
He
opening of the new Mosaic or
was
whatever they
it.
call
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, I mean, the
Uh,
Bombers had a chance to draft him, right? And they took a Saskatchewan guy instead, right? Didn't they?
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think
So
didn't Dressler have a huge game that
oh, yeah,
which way?
Dressler always had
Everything's
huge games against the Bombers.
no, I
Was he
meant
against?
Dressler.
Was he with the Bombers at the time, or was
Yes.
he still? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think at the opening of that whatever field, Mosaic, whatever they call it, I don't know, Taylor. Anyway, let's move on. Which Stampeders do you think the Bombers should keep their eyes on? I think they really got to look at Micah. That linebacker is crazy. He's all over the field, and he will be wherever Brady Oliveira is. He's busy patrolling the middle of the field, and like we say, like they'll sacrifice the underneath, and he's good at patrolling the underneath as well. That's why they can do that. They have such and he had 10 tackles the last time these two teams met. And he's leading the league with 67. He's played the most snaps with like 79. Look for Micah, the linebacker, on if they can't get a body on him, could be a long day.
It's funny because we talk about Matthew Betts and Willie Jefferson and them in line for defensive player of the year and all that stuff, but Michael. He's having a underrated kind of or under the radar kind of season.
Yes,
Like he's there, the stats are there, and he's played well, but no one's mentioning his name yet. So this could be a stepping out game. Funny that you mentioned the defense on this one. I'm going offense on this one, and I go back to the running game and the big running backs: Kadeem Carey, Dietrich Mills. Bombers have to be aware of those guys and where they are, and stop that run game.
I agree. That could be a scary. Dietrich Mills had 100 and something, 47 off of 20 something carries, 24 carries, 27 carries. Crazy. So then, what do the Stamps have to do to win this? I'm going to segue into that because they have to run the ball and they have to commit to it. Once that running game gets going, you can also look for Begelton deep. He's top 3 in big plays, and he's hungry to score a touchdown this year. Are you serious? I know he didn't start this season, but Begelton.
How does he not have a touchdown yet, though?
He's top 5 in yards for sure, and he doesn't have a touchdown yet.
Wow.
That's because what's his name's not passing much. Meyer, he's passing for what, 22, 25 times a game?
Yeah, and when he's passing, it's not very. The funny thing is, Meyer's up there in yards. Like he's right behind Claros in yards
because he started crazy.
Yeah, but I guess there's a few games where he put up some good chunks, and then there's a lot of games where he's been terrible. So
yeah,
I agree. Run game. They have to run this game. They or run the ball this game to have a chance. They have to run it and also keep the Bomber offense off the field, because for the most part, this Bomber offense has been humming, right? And we saw last week they can score. We saw it against BC, they can score. So keep that offense off the field. And that D for Calgary needs to play the same way they did last time. Be aggressive, attack that old line, and try to make the Bombers QBs or anyone make mistakes and turnovers. They did it well last game to start, but they tapered off. So full 60 minutes.
I'm thinking that they do have to change their strategy if Drew Brown is playing with his mobility. I think, with Zach Collaros, he's a bigger quarterback. He can see and throw those balls over the line on the short routes. But if you keep Brown within the pockets and you have those big linemen putting their hands up, he's going to have trouble finding those shorter routes and completing those shorter routes. So I think if Drew Brown is playing, they got to keep him pressure still, obviously. You want to pressure the quarterback. You don't want to give a young quarterback like that time. But keep him in the pocket like you would try to do Crum and Ford so he doesn't get out there and extend plays.
Yeah, for sure. Should be an interesting one.
Yeah, it's not a gimme. Or what is it gimme? Is that right? Yeah, it's not a gimme.
Yeah.
Let's go to critical questions. We're going to go west-east as we usually do. Let's start with Edmonton. Can the Elks finally break the donut? The last time I took them to win was against the Tiger Cats earlier this season, and we know how that ended. So I'll leave the rest of that for the predictions. So that's a question. Can the Elks finally break the donut?
It's time they did, though, right?
Of course it's time. It's 0-9. Are they 0-9 or 8?
Yeah, 0-9.
I say that rhymed. Of course, it's time. They're 0-9. It's time to finish it. Let's go. Who do you got next?
Let's go to Hamilton then. New OC, right? Scott Milanovic, first game and against the Elks and his buddy Chris Jones. Can the Ticats make a run with a new OC and battle for second? If they're going to do it, they can't lose this game. If you want to make that run and challenge Montreal, who's in the driver's seat right now for that second place, they got to win this game, especially against an 0-9 team. It'll be interesting to see. We saw the Elks come out with a revamped offense in their first game with the new OC against the Bombers. We'll see what Milanovic does here. He has the pedigree, right? He's done this before. He won the Grey Cup with Toronto, right?
Oh, yeah.
His coach, yeah. So
yeah,
we'll see. But can you implement it that fast? At least they had to buy, I guess.
Chris Jones's buddy. Yes. Let's go to the BC Lions. Will Matthew Betts break his 3-game sackless streak? Yes. Saskatchewan has given up the second most sacks in the league with 30, and they have Dolegal taking back the reins. Recipe for success for Betts. So, yes, I think he will break that streak. Didn't realize that until I was looking at the past games with BC.
Yeah, he's been held off the score sheet or stat sheet quite a bit. That game might be bad for Saskatchewan. Toronto, they say D wins championships, right? Can that D catch up to the offense and play better? Right now, it's an offensive show for Toronto. We know when the weather gets cold, though, things change, right? And the offenses kind of slow down and the D's kind of pick up. So that D's got to get into better rhythm, better shape. I don't know, but they need to play better for Toronto to have a better chance of winning. Right now, the offense gives them a great chance. Yeah, but D needs to step it up.
Yeah, they haven't been looking as formidable as they had in the beginning of the year. And lots of people are coming out like, "Oh, I told you it's an ease of schedule." But the beginning, well, we'll see. Lots of season left.
Yeah.
Calgary, same theme as before. Will they commit to the running game? Obviously, I think they should. Not as a Bomber fan, as someone who watches the game. Yeah, just run the ball. Unless you're down by 3 scores or more, run the ball.
Yeah, totally agree on that one.
Yeah.
Ottawa.
But I don't have confidence in the coaching decisions lately, so they probably won't. We've seen them not do it.
Dave Dickinson probably didn't like running the ball when he was a quarterback. So right now he's doing the same thing.
For sure. But you have no choice because your QB's not playing well when you. Well.
No, you got to go. Yeah, we've talked about this quite a bit with the Calgary in that run game. Right now, you're sitting in 4th. Like, you're still behind Saskatchewan. You need to start winning some games to overtake them and not worry about a crossover coming from the East somehow, right?
Yeah.
So, speaking of the East, let's go back there and let's talk to about Ottawa, who has a chance still at the playoffs, obviously, and could cross over if they start playing well. Can they clean up the inconsistency? They look good at times. Crum looks good. And then other games, they revert back to the old Ottawa Red Blacks that we've seen for the last couple of years. Poor offense, poor defense. And then when the defense plays well, the offense plays bad. And when the offense plays well, the defense plays bad. So they got to find it and they got to figure it out soon.
They got to get some winning vets in that locker room. There is not enough experienced winning veterans in that locker room. I'm convinced of that. I really believe Bobby Dice is a good coach. I believe in Kahari Jones. Their defense is good. I just don't think they have the players not calling each other out in the media, but, there's some accountability in the room. There's some culture. There's a standard. Any which way, we'll see. Saskatchewan Roughriders, will Jake Dolegal take a step forward? Not against BC, I don't think. They're back. They're focused. BC, after that drubbing against Winnipeg, this is not a good matchup. He is a sack and turnover issue. And BC's not going to take it easy on them.
No,
we've seen it. BC likes to run up the score and they like to stomp on people. So,
and it's in Mosaic, right? So this could be rough. Could be rough.
Sorry, Saskatchewan. Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
Montreal, are they the best team out of the bottom 6 teams? Right now, it looks like it. They look like the most consistent. Like we talked about earlier this week, they've lost to the Bombers, BC, Toronto, and beaten of all the other teams. So if they can keep that up, they'll definitely sit in the driver's seat right into the East semifinal and be able to host that game. Because it doesn't look like any of these other teams will be able to win enough games to keep up.
That's a really good question. I think they are considerably better than
Oh
bottom
yeah.
six where they are, unless Saskatchewan finds a quarterback, and they haven't. It's for sure Montreal.
Even with Trevor Harris, Saskatchewan didn't look great. They looked good against that the Bombers for that second or that bit, right? That
Yeah.
little part of the game. But other than that, the offense wasn't humming with Harris in there, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
going.
Their young
So
receivers look fairly good though, and I think with Harris, they're getting some consistency and rhythm, but
injuries too, I
uh,
guess, for Saskatchewan have been crazy.
for sure they're suffering.
But I think you should have started off with a brand new coach. You might have had a better opportunity. Dickinson.
Stupid ops cap. Get rid of it and fix it. Or fix it. You can't get rid of it and then fix it.
No.
Fix it by getting rid of it. Let's go with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Will they be ready to start the game? We mentioned it earlier. It's been a contention for weeks. We've mentioned it ad nauseum, but it's a factor. Get into the rhythm. Calgary is not very good against the run. The Bombers have a good running game. Get the momentum going. So yeah, I just hope they get it going. Will they be ready to? I don't know. I can't say.
Maybe they're at this point too, where it's like, it's regular season. We're already basically in the playoffs here. Chances are we're hosting a game, so maybe they got that mentality. I know there are a lot of older vets, but I can't see them actually having that mentality like that. But
No, they play to
just
win the
interesting,
game.
It's interesting to see how slow they start sometimes. It's
It's
besides that
mind-boggling.
BC game where they really came up firing. I know there was other games they looked good early too, but find that rhythm that you did in that BC game. Even the Hamilton game, first game, that offense was going.
And Saskatchewan,
Yeah.
the two first games where you expect it.
Yeah.
Right. They're veterans. They've played with each other forever, and they're solid already. You expect them to come out, but it's been a struggle for them lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just trust in Brady, maybe.
Yeah, you got to stick with that run game a little bit more.
Quick and dirty predictions. Elks, Ticats. Who you got?
I'm ready to get bitten again. I'm going with the Elks. I like what Trey Ford was doing last week. He gets Eugene Lewis back this week as well, so hopefully that'll help the offense. Although they lost Purifoy on D, AC Leonard's going to need to step it up on D. But I think they got the edge just with Ford versus Powell in this one.
AC Leonard got 2 sacks on a very hard offensive line last week. Maybe the rest of them got to step up their game. I also got the Elks. Come on, man. Build on last week. Get that win. Win the game for Victor because the board doesn't know what the F they're doing. So I'm going to go for the Elks on that one.
Bombers, because we picked them, they're going to get blown out in this game now, right?
Sorry, Edmonton. That's true. That's true.
Like,
was that Kurt Angle? It's true. It's damn true.
Yeah.
Bombers at Stamps. I got Bombers going into it and taking a close game in Calgary. They usually have a difficult time in McMahon. Calgary's, like you said, every team brings their A game against the Bombers. They want to beat them, but I'll take the Bombers in the end by 8.
Yeah, the way Calgary's been playing lately and how bad they looked against BC last week. I mean, yeah, they beat Toronto, but I think that more had a factor with Chad Kelly not playing the second half there. I'm going to pick Winnipeg as well. And like you say, McMahon Stadium is not always the greatest, the Bombers, so I expect it to be close, but Bombers still come out on top.
Owls, Red Blacks, who you got?
I got to take the Owls in this one. Like we just talked about, right? If they want to prove that they're the better of the bottom 6, this is another step for them to pull away in that race for second. Their D has been playing pretty good lately, and they should be able to contain Crum. Ottawa, they need that D to step up and slow down. If it's going to be Caleb Evans, we don't know yet. And that offense, Kahari's got to call a great game from beginning to end, like last week against Toronto. Figure it out. Let Crum grow. That's the only chance they're going to have to win this game.
Owls, Red Blacks. So I got the Owls. Even if Caleb Evans starts, they put up 41 against Saskatchewan. Come on. I got the Owls to win in the nation's capital. BC's Saskatchewan. BC's too much. Saskatchewan's O-line is a liability, and so is Dolagill behind them. So it's going to be horrible. It's going to be disaster. BC by lots. Maybe another
shutout
in this one.
Ooh, how many shutouts has one team ever gotten in a season? Probably not 3, right?
Yeah, when's the last time in the CFL a team got 2 shutouts in 1 year? When's the last time in the CFL a team has been shut out twice in 1 year?
Yeah, we need answers, man. Let's get them.
Okay.
I got to pick BC as well in this one. It's going to be a massacre. I don't think this one's going to be close. I will be very shocked if Saskatchewan has any chance of winning this game. That D is going to eat Dolga up, man. Like, I don't even know what Saskatchewan's going to do here.
They have, it's going to be horrible. Mosaics. Friends and neighbors, fans.
What's the crowd count for that game, and how empty will it be after the first or second quarter?
Oh, they'll show up. They'll stay for a while. You know, they're hardcore, they're hardy. But we'll see. I hope they stick around though. It's got to be a good game to finish off the CFL week.
Yeah. For the most part, they do, but there will be empty seats no matter what. It's hard if your team's getting beat, right?
Ugh. Friends, fans, put your predictions down below. Give us your thoughts on the CFL, or just say hi, anything you want. Benny, you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe to us on YouTube for a chance to win that signed Milt Stiegel jersey, and have a good week.
And in the words of LeVar Burton, we'll see you next time.
All right, Kyle Walters, still not signed to an extension or anything. Cause for concern, or are the Bombers just moving on and handing the reins over to O'Shea?
I don't think it's a cause for concern. I'd be comfortable with O'Shea moving on.
With O'Shea moving on, or Walters moving on?
With O'Shea as the GM coach, if that's what he really wants. I think he's kind of earned it to pick his own pieces now. Not like he doesn't have say now. I don't know the workings behind the scene, but I believe that they have a great relationship. Looking at how that's worked out for some teams recently, I kind of want Kyle Walters to take it off of Coach O'Shea's plate. Because I think you come into an issue of loyalty to the players. Coaches are very loyal to their players, more than the GMs are, I would say. So I think in regards to wanting to transition possibly after this year into a different team, I think I'd like to see Kyle Walters stay. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree on that. I like that with the coach and the GM, right? Because then the coach can always play it off saying, you know, the GM is doing this kind of thing. When you're both, you can't play it off and you are the bad guy and the good guy kind of thing, right? And it's hard to keep those two roles kind of separate or play them both really, right? Unless they got a plan with McManus or Govia taking more over after this season or something like that. Yeah. I'd love for them to keep Kyle Walters, man. They got a good thing going. Maybe Kyle Walters is ready to move on and try something else and go back to college football. Who knows? But I don't know. I like having this tandem.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think it really works in football. If I look at it, when has it been very successful? Wally Buono?
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.